This is my favorite washing machine, and the failure about it was reported to me, which is especially concerning since this is my favorite washing machine. In this video I'm going to share with you what actually failed about this washing machine. Now, for the purpose of this video, this piece of equipment will be consistently referred to as a washing machine, whereas the small item in my hand is a washer, a term that can be used interchangeably to mean either one of these items. So this is a washing machine throughout this video. So let's get started with my failure story with the actual make and model and details of this washing machine, the nameplate, and some of the features that make it my favorite washing machine. Let me take you off the tripod. Made by General Electric. This is a GE Spacemaker. This is how the control panel looks like. Micro switches for push buttons and a very small LCD that shows the time remaining on a wash or a cycle. Inside, I think it's 2.5 cubic foot drum here, stainless steel in flawless condition, and a plastic agitator. The washing machine has been in use for about 15 years and is 18 years old or so. Its small size and lightweight make it really easy to manhandle it around like this, and it cleans the clothes really well, which is an important feature on a washing machine, I think you'd agree. So this is the nameplate. That's the actual model designation on this washing machine. So what actually failed about it was this. It was lent to a lady, a friend of our family, who was born and raised in Africa. And they had many servants in the house. In Africa, that's a normal thing. That's actually a positive thing. This is not the 19th century. This is happening in the late 20th, early 21st century. Many servants in the house, which is seen as a normal, decent thing to do in Africa, to employ the fellow human beings in the village or in the community to give them a source of income. So that's the family she grew up with, and had many servants in the house, and as a little girl she was climbing the mango trees and papaya trees and whatever. That's about all she did in terms of interacting with technology, which is going to be an important detail about the failure here. So it was reported to me by this lady that the washing machine is making some kind of rattling noises and clackety noises, some mechanical noises, and I immediately thought, of course, it's probably the drive train here, the belt, the bearing on which the drum spins. Everything is 18 years old and have been used and used and used, and probably they reached the end of their useful life. Bearings don't last forever, belts don't last forever, probably maybe the motor, something is grinding in the motor, the brushes or whatever. So I thought it was one of those major components that will be so much effort to replace that it's probably not worth it. The washing machine is probably finished its useful life. But just to be on the safe side, I connected the intake hose and the drain hose, and outside in the garden there I ran a rinse cycle through it. I found that the drivetrain works flawlessly. It's spinning, the bearings are good, the motor is good, the belt is good, it's taking in water, it's pumping out water, it's spin drying, and everything about it works flawlessly. Yet there was a rattling, mechanical, clackety noise coming from one corner of the washing machine, which is the corner that's down there, where the water pump is located, down in this corner. This noise coming from the water pump was concerning because the water pump's impeller blades are plastic. Here in my hand is another water pump from a different make and model, and I can show you these impeller blades on it. This is how they look like when they are ground off. And I also, yeah, so they cracked, they chipped, they broke off, and then I wanted to use this motor in my classroom without a possibility of injury to fingers, and I broke the rest of the plastic off. So this is how impeller blades look like when they are chewed down, worn down, and cracked and broken off with pliers, finished off. I was afraid, but otherwise this is a perfectly functioning motor. If it's connected to 120 volts, it's gonna spin. That's why I colored a segment of it red, so rotation can be visualized. So there's nothing wrong with this motor, but that's how the worn or broken impeller blades look like. I was afraid that the impeller blades on this, the noise coming from the motor down there, that's what I might see. And a motor is over $100, possibly hundreds of dollars. So I really didn't like the noise coming from the motor. I investigated. I removed the motor from there, and it's in my hand over here. It's very similar in design, but it also has a plastic fitting in front of it. So there, how do I do this? You can see the similarities in the motor parts. They are motor and motor side by side. Yes. And in front of it there is a plastic fitting bolted here. So the impeller blades on the motor are somewhere here, deep down inside there. There is a drain plug that lives here and can be removed, and this green cage is part of it. And so the impeller blades can be visually inspected very simply. If I can find some good light, thereabouts. They are down there, and with better light or more light they are they can be inspected a little better, but they of course spin, they pump the water, they drain the water, and the impeller blades themselves are intact. What helps them keep them intact is a design feature that's part of this drain plug, this green cage here, that is designed so that goes into this fitting. This is where the drain pipe and the intake pipe are connected here to this plastic fitting. And so when this drain plug is inserted there, part of this cage here prevents larger objects to get actually in physical contact with the impeller blades. I hope this makes sense, that even though it's not really visible, but this part here of this drain plug protects the impeller blades down there. Okay, so it was still a rattling noise being produced here. The impeller blades are fine, and the noise is not coming from the motor. The noise was coming from loose objects rattling inside this fitting. The loose objects were three pieces here. These. A piece of steel wire, iron wire, one coin, and another coin. This coin has the dissolved iron from this steel wire, the dissolved iron deposited on it. And when I ran the rinse cycle and jiggled my way through the hoses and the pump and everything, this one shot out with the jet of rinse water. This kept rattling inside the cage, and this coin was actually stuck inside a drain pipe. Oops. So it was stuck in there, flipped sideways, partially blocking the drain water to be pumped out and actually emptying from inside the tub. So what's the fail story here? Well, fail story one is you should empty your pockets before you put your clothes in the washing machine. But inside the drum there are two lint traps that are in place to prevent exactly this situation. For larger metal or any larger object to be sucked into the drain pipe and hitting the impeller blades on the motor. Besides the cage design on the drain plug protecting the impeller blades, the lint traps inside the drum, and I'm going to remove the lid at this point. The lid doesn't just rip out like this, it's been loosened or disconnected previously. So the lint traps inside the drum are in place to prevent not only lint but anything larger than lint, and the lint traps snap in place here and here. So it prevents lint and larger objects to make it down the drain pipe to potentially interfere with the impeller blades on the motor. So what saved me was the drain plug's design, an extra design feature that helped protect the impeller blades on the pump. Now, the lady who was using the washing machine says the lint traps broke because they are plastic. They are made of plastic, they just break away. They're so old plastic, it just breaks. Yeah, okay, sure. I'm sure they broke. But I'm also sure that the mechanical fit that is required to snap these lint traps here in place, and the skills of keeping this space here, the edges of this space here, clean and free of debris and residue, so the lint trap actually fits back in place and snaps in place without hammering it in place, because it does fit really easily if the edges here are kept clean and residue, silt or sediment or lint that gathers along the edges also need to be removed. So if this is kept in good condition, the lint traps don't break, then the lint traps prevent coins, wires, half a pig, who knows what you're washing in your washing machine, I don't know, to potentially make it down the drain system to potentially damage your impeller blades. So the washing machine is in pristine, flawless conditions. Of course I'm going to have to buy two new lint traps here because they are an integral part of the design concept that protects further downstream other vital components of the washing machine, and of course I'm gonna keep it. So what failed about this washing machine is what's called a complete user failure. There's nothing wrong with the washing machine. It's ingenious drain plug design that additionally helps protect the impeller blades is actually one of my favorite features on it, besides the ones that I mentioned. It's really rare that I like a design. This was designed and built to last, and it's really rare in North America. This is actually outstanding, excellent design from General Electric, and I'm really happy about this washing machine, which is, like I said, rare that I'm happy about anything. This one gets 2 thumbs up, just my other hand is holding the camera. So thank you very much for watching. And then that can of course happen to your washing machine operations as well. Bypassing design features will have possibly unforeseen consequences further down the road. And yeah, if you grow up with servants and papaya trees to climb, your ability to interact with technology will be severely limited. It's not a permanent condition, but most people who don't grow up with servants and papaya trees possibly have years of advantage or years of headways ahead of some others who are stuck with fixing things like myself all the time. So thank you very much for watching. That's what I wanted to share about the fail story about this washing machine.